Alrighty. This is Greg and Clint. Back again. This time, Clint's got an idea with his RC cars.
What about me?
Evie, you have an RC car.
You have an RC car, so you're included in this idea.
So
but
Evie is Clint's daughter, and you know he's got her on here, so he's got permission for her to say hi.
So let me maybe share my idea first before you have input on my idea.
Alrighty. So here we go. It's going to combine RC and gaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
RC gaming.
RC gaming.
A little bit different. Yep.
So there's our basic form, and then there's our advanced form, which I'm not going to go into the advanced form much because, we need more money for that. And no, I don't mean money to buy real tanks and have battles, although that would be cool.
Yeah. Now, you getting this from your OnlyFans page, Clint?
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
So, you're talking lottery money there, Greg, so we're just going to go ahead.
Lottery money. Here's
gonna
$1 for a ticket, man. That's about all we can afford.
We're going to get that out of the way first. We're not talking buying the real thing and going to town. We're not even talking like, half the size of real things and going to town. Although Power Wheel tanks would be kind of fun too. But anyway.
You had touched on this before in another podcast because Mythos with Frost and Fist brought that up. He's like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
He thought it was fun.
I wanted to elaborate a little more. So, we've played Gaslands.
Yes.
We've thrown that down a few times.
And we should explain what Gaslands is real quick for those
good
of
idea.
you that don't. So in a nutshell, it's a rule book for your Hot Wheel cars.
Yep.
To fight it out, if we're going to simplify it.
Yeah, sure.
Right? You buy the rule book. You can buy the templates, which are really nice, and I would recommend them.
They're good, yeah.
They're just like $20. Get your little turn templates. But you can take any of the cars you have, the kids have, whatever's sitting in a toy chest, whatever.
Yep.
And you can go to town and fight with them.
Yeah.
There's just some standard rules. Right?
Yeah. The templates are the biggest thing for the movement.
Yeah.
And then dice rolling for, damage, obviously.
So, but it's simple in that sense. So, I don't remember the guy's name, but he came up with this a long time ago. And they revamped it, right?
Yeah,
so,
So it's. I think the book I have is either 3rd or 4th edition at this point. Really nice hardcover book. It's like, I want to say it's $39.95 at Barnes & Noble's where I got it, but you can get it from any game shop. But really, if you like Mad Max and you like the fact that, you like miniature games, obviously. If you haven't checked out Gaslands, I would. Gaslands Refueled is the 4th book. That's
what I'd say. It was Refueled. You're
Refueled,
right.
Yeah. That's seriously worth checking out. It's not a big investment, like Greg said. Hot Wheels cars, Matchbox cars, whatever. You don't even have to dress them up. You just need them to represent where you are on the track. It is mostly designed to play on the track versus just out in an open table. But a track is anything by putting some cones or some barriers up and defining a battlefield area, and go from there.
You could put plastic cups upside down.
You could, easily.
Whatever.
So and Gasland's rules are set for just about any scale. There's no reason you have to use Hot Wheels. You could use Micro Machines. You could go up to 124 scale models. I thought some 124 scale model cars would be kind of cool before I got back into RC stuff.
That's a good point there. When I said Hot Wheels, I just meant generically. If you've got little toy cars around, and the upside to this is, you could get them for $1 at most of your stores, right? Dollar stores, even the box stores.
Yep.
Dollar, whatever. They're not very much. So this is a low price entry game.
It is a great option. And we played for an hour, got through a couple rounds learning to play. I imagine once you know how to play, it's probably a 30-40 minute
but
race,
it's some fun. Well, there was 3 of us though.
Yeah, there was 3 of us. But you can do. The game shop here does multiples, so you'll have 6 or 8 people playing at one time on on a figure 8 track, basically. I've just seen them do it on like a figure 8 shaped table on the gaming table there, and and there's a big Gaslands group at our local gaming shop. I should actually go down someday when they're playing and pick their brains.
Do they have it where we go?
Tempest has a Gaslands group. In fact, they had to cancel today because the one running it got sick. But they do have an event there. It's on the Tempest. So the local game shop is Tempest Games. That's the one
we're not affiliated with them. We just go there and we like them. So
but their Facebook page will always have updates for that stuff.
See, I didn't notice that. I know they do a lot of Magic and that kind of stuff. I didn't notice that. But You can buy those templates that you got are nice.
Yeah, and I got them from
They were
that game
acrylic
shop.
templates. Yeah, they're nice.
God, I think they were $19.99 for the acrylic templates, and you can get the laser cut MDF for like 12 something on Amazon.
I say some of them, acrylic was cheap, wasn't it? And
yeah. Well, that was the smoke tokens, and those were a little cheaper.
Oh yeah.
You know, the little extra effect tokens. So.
But the concept is interesting because literally you could take what you have around the house, and if you don't have your own rules, this is just a book of rules that everybody can agree on. You know.
The template really helps for the smaller scale game because it handles all your maneuvers. You're working on your speed and your handling.
What did you eat?
Evie, we're trying to have a podcast. Be serious now.
You just picked something
Evelyn.
off the ceiling and
Evelyn,
ate it.
stop.
I just did that to get a response out of Evie. Sorry.
You're not helping by egging her on. Anyway.
When we go past the chicken farm, Evie, I'm going to egg you on. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Chicken nuggets.
No.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, chicken nuggets. Anyways.
Yeah, good
That's
luck.
called nuggies.
Okay, Evie. On track here. So, yes.
No.
Gasland's definitely worth it. So, I mean, wasn't supposed to be the main focus, but I think that kind of covers it. The templates you need for movement. That handles all your handling and maneuvering.
That way there's no question as to
it's
did
very
you turn
obvious.
correctly. The templates are going to help cut down any kind of arguing or debating.
And,
it just makes it more.
It's also, did you hit a wall? Did you hit another vehicle? Did you roll? What direction did you go when you roll with the template?
And there's some thinking involved.
Yes, I
so.
slammed into
do you have line of sight to shoot?
Full force.
Okay, Evie. So that's, really check it out. I highly recommend Gaslands Refueled, especially. Even the PDF, if you don't want to buy the book, the PDF's probably even cheaper. But actually, you can probably download the PDF for free. I think I did. But I just don't always like PDFs. So my thought was, and I know we had discussed this or touched base on it, was twofold on this one. So using the RC cars. I had for a while the 1/18th scale stuff, and it's cool. It can do a lot of neat things. But it's hard for me to work on 1/18th scale. It's just too small when you've got big hands. So that does make it a little more difficult. So the standard RC scale size is being 1/10th scale, which is pretty large. So what I've been toying with and looking is, how do we adapt Gasland's rules to play with the RCs? Because here's a couple problems without delving big time into the rules. So it's easy enough to make up a vehicle stat card.
Yeah.
No problem there, because the game rule covers that. But you can't use the templates because, usually the wheels of the RC are the size of the template. So that does kind of make maneuvering a little difficult.
So now you've got to scale up the moves.
So, So one, you could make these giant templates. But with an RC car, the point is they move on their own with the use of the controller versus you just picking the thing up and moving it on the template. So while you could do that, my RC weighs 11 pounds. I don't want to keep picking up an 11-pound truck to move it 8 or 10 inches, or scaled up version might be like 1.5 feet, to try to get it into position on the track. So my thought was, how do we compensate for that, right? So you can set your speed on your cars in Gaslands. Vehicles have maximum speed, minimum speed, So instead of using the templates, because generally the RC car, if you're driving it, you're driving it. Why would you need a template for a maneuver if you're trying to pull off the maneuver? Why would you need to roll a dice to see if you pull off a maneuver? Do you pull off the maneuver driving the RC or not?
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. If it rolls over, it rolls over. Well, deal with the rollover then, right? The rules cover rollover. If it crashes into something, deal with the rules for crashing into something. So my thought was, instead of your speed representing what template you use for movement, how many inches it moves, the speed is now the amount of time you have to drive your RC on the track in seconds.
Okay.
Which means you need a timer, obviously, which, oh my God, I think every cell phone has a timer in it.
Oh my gosh, is that really true?
So, you have minimum 1 is your speed. Otherwise, you're stopped, right? And I think the maximum it goes up to is 6, which means that's your fastest cars are doing 6. So you have between 1 second and 6 seconds to move your RC car on the track. Now, RC cars don't always dead stop right where they're at, so you might roll a little bit. It's not going to be an exact science. Also, if the track is a big trail area, and I have an area figured out where we could test this, that would work just fine for those big RC cars.
I have a question.
Yeah, see?
What if we only get 5 seconds and we have to climb up something slowly?
Then you
Still
will
only
not
have-
get all the way up it like you wanted to.
You only have
You
5
have
seconds.
5 seconds to move the vehicle. Now,
Okay.
your thought is, I need to move this vehicle on this course or this track, and if I want to be able to shoot at somebody, I'm going to have to position that vehicle so that my guns are facing the other person's RC car. Now, if you're moving first and the other person hasn't moved yet, there's a good possibility that that other person isn't going to be in your line of sight.
You better think before you move.
You really got to think before you run your car. So the idea for us to make that work in real practice would be you have a timekeeper. So when it's not your turn to move your RC car, someone else has the stopwatch or counter or whatever. It doesn't matter. The person who is going to move, it's their turn to move, tells the timekeeper that they're ready. The timekeeper then will push the button and say, go. That person they need to gun the throttle, but you don't really want to gun the throttle on an enclosed track because you could end up off the track, which means you deal with crash damage. So you got to think. You don't want to just hit the gas. Even if you only have 6 seconds to go, you don't just want to gun it because, first of all, those RCs will take off super fast, even to low gear. Slow and steady is your smart move if you want to line it up. And then the person with the time says stop. And you stop. Now, wherever your vehicle lands, that is what you deal with. If you're climbing a mountain, you're climbing a hill, you're going around a corner, you're doing whatever, that's the point that you ended the RC at. Now, then you look at the guns. Do you have front hood-mounted guns? Do you have a rotating turret? Also, the thing with a rotating turret is to think, because you may not be playing on a level track because these are rock crawlers, trail crawlers. Your trail is not going to be flat like the table is, Is your gun even going to face the enemy, or is it going to be shooting up in the sky?
Or is it blocked by rocks or
is there,
brush or something?
So if you're climbing up a hill to get a vantage point, if you can't make it to the top of the hill in your turn, you may not be able to shoot at someone. Even if you have a 360-degree turret, that doesn't mean you can shoot up or down.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some pre-thinking before you make a move. So I think it would work out pretty good because, I think, shame on you, we'd have to do some practice games.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But I think,
now,
why not?
Here's another fun thought, and this is an element that's not really factored in the game. The game doesn't really look at fuel much, but what do you do if your battery dies? Oh, you are out of fuel.
Yeah,
You're stuck. So now you can't move. Now, as damage happens to the vehicle, it limits the speed you can set the vehicle for. So all that does is really reduce your speed option, your time option. You may get down to 1 second, and you basically just bump the throttle once, and that's the end of it. But bumping the throttle once on an RC car could take you 2 or 3 feet, depending on the car. It could take you 5 or 6 inches. But if the vehicle is, and my thought on it before I get to the next point I was about to make, if your vehicle is so severely damaged, I had thought about a minimum speed being like a 2-second run no matter what. Because even in reality, a car that is limping still could move quite a bit. So it might be that you have a minimum of 2 seconds, regardless, and a maximum of 6 or even 8 seconds at that point.
6 seconds is a long time.
6 seconds is a long time to move.
That really is.
Considering how fast my TRX-6 goes, 6 seconds, I can cover about 15 to 20 feet in reality if I gun it. Now with Evie's buggy, she's got, hers can climb. So it might, just trying to get up a rock face, especially if you get stuck on something, you might lose your whole time just trying to move 6 or 8 inches. So then we need to look at, do we allow a terrain bonus, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe we're trying to get over this particular rock and you can't get the traction. You're just sitting there spinning and your time expires. So maybe we'll allow it so that you basically get over the rock, but you have to stop on the other side of the rock.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to definitely have to, it's going to be a work in progress as we play. And I definitely want to videotape this as we do it. Now, shooting is going to be just follow the standard Gasland shooting rules, other than we will need to bump up the range. Because, it uses the templates to determine your range.
3 meters.
So we'll need a tape measure. So we'll obviously have to say, okay, well, this tape measure's maximum range is 12 inches. We're going to have to bump that to, this. We're going to say the RC is 4 times the size of this. So your 12 inches is now 48 inches.
That'll be more realistic.
You're just going to have to scale it up. Basically, you're going to take whatever it is times. You should technically take it times 10. My concern with that is if you've got a gun whose long range is 12 inches and you're taking it times 10, that's 120 inches, which means you can shoot 7 feet, 8 feet.
Wow.
No, 10 feet. 10 feet. Which I guess in that scale, that makes sense. But to me, 10 feet, that means you're pretty much going to cover the board no matter what. So I think that we're going to have to play with. And I think that's something that when we're out trail crawling and we're kind of trying to play test this, that is definitely something I think we need to discuss. So I'll review the rules before we go out. I'll make some notes, and then we'll just go out and trail crawl, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see what people think. And then,
that'd be a good way.
You'll need a dice tray and some dice to roll to hit because the guns. I like this idea, and I think it would catch on. I think a lot of people would be really cool with it. And there's no reason, if you're investing all this money in an RC, even if you don't add guns or whatever to the body, the fact that you've got the card and it allows it to do it, and you're playing with your RC anyway, you're doing it, it's still going to be fun. There are enough people who rock crawl and do everything that you could easily, you're setting up courses to rock crawl in competition anyway, with timed gates and everything, so that perfectly fits. You just don't worry about the time element from gate to gate,
Yeah.
You just worry about taking somebody out. The advanced version that I was thinking about of that is getting the laser system that comes with the RC tanks.
Yeah, you had brought that up before.
Yeah,
on the
that's what
tanks.
we were talking about, and making an assembly. And I've done a little more research, and there are some of the companies that make the steering servos and the micro servos that actually have winch servos. And what they are is a micro servo that you run as a winch for your RC, which means free run left, right, in and out. So those could easily be mounted into a framework that rotates 360 degree,
Yeah.
So then, and those servos are like $12 or $13 a piece, unless you get the high-end ones. Then they're a little more expensive. But the lower-end ones, they're super cheap on Amazon. So there's no reason we couldn't make 3 or 4 rotating bases that the servo sits in, has a battery pack attached to it to run it, and a remote control, because lo and behold, they make individual remote controls for the winches, which would work just fine. The only thing would be the firing. You'd have to figure out how to fire the gun.
Well, and dice, I want to touch on that. So if we're outside gaming, why couldn't we use a dice app on the phone?
We could easily, yeah.
I mean, I know
That's
it's
actually
not the
a
same,
much better idea.
because Mythos from Frost and Fist there, he brought that up the other day, and I was like, yeah, I know, but not on this particular game, but I mean, I was just general conversation, like, yeah, there are dice apps,
Yeah,
and
sure.
if we're going to do it outside, as opposed to trying to find a place to roll dice,
Yeah.
we might just use a
Use the
dice
apps.
app, because it's randomly generated anyways. I mean, I don't think you can cheat that.
No,
It's
not
random.
really. I mean, I've used a few in game, and they're fine. I don't have a problem with them. I had a really nice dice roller on my old phone. I never did re-download it, but no, that I didn't even think about the
I was
dice
just
roller.
thinking about
That's
that
a great
for when
idea.
we're outside, because
Yeah. Yeah, we just establish a track, even if it's just a flat, the couple of the areas by the river with the sandbar, it's an open, flat sand area. You just set up your barriers. Basically, you set up your gates, and you race from gate to gate, and you're shooting and rolling. So, an hour or 2 hours gameplay, hopefully not standing out in the baking sun, but which is not also good on the RCs. And if you roll over, if you collide with something, then you've got to resolve that as well. The rules, easily accommodate for it. Now with Evie's buggy, you get a couple rock crawler buggies that, just like the battle buggy stuff. I think that'd be really cool, especially if you get the lasers in those. Because those, once we got the laser on it, then we don't worry about the rolling to shoot. You just...
Well, you would automatically know. Did you
just
ever,
know, yeah.
Did you ever get a price?
Yeah. So the one unit,
unit,
just the electronics, is $170.
Oof.
And that's one.
They don't have any cheaper ones?
Not that I've found yet, but I've been told by the hobby shop who sells the RC tanks that you can go to the manufacturer and go through their parts catalog and order the individual pieces if you don't mind soldering the wires together and everything, and it's a lot cheaper. Like, well, I'm fine with that. I can solder. That's not a big deal. If we're going to have to take all this apart to fit it into a 3D printed housing anyway, that's probably actually ideal.
Damn.
Then the only thing is the unit, the housed unit, too big to put in the RC? Some of those RCs have a very limited space, so are you just strapping it to the roof, which is possible, or does it sit in the back of a pickup bed, or whatever? I mean, that's a moot point. There's ways to figure that out rather easily. Generally, this should be able to be run on just a couple 2 to 4 AA batteries to power that unit, and then whatever batteries for the remote. The trigger, the problem is the firing. The firing is the tricky part. Because if I use the separate remote for the winch to move it left and right, like a winch does, you still don't have a firing button.
No.
So, and it's not something that you want to wire into your RC. You could, but then you've got to do a lot more, unless you do like my big 6x6, where it's powered off the RC by just having a wire that plugs into the accessory box. And that's something I'm looking at too.
Huh.
Then that's controlled by the receiver. The thing is, my receiver is not designed to run the turret or shoot the gun, because the receiver I have runs all the components on the RC. The 2-speed transmission, the locking and unlocking differentials, all that stuff. So that's contained there. Now there are multi-channel controllers that could easily be put in place, but then you're buying a multi-channel controller, another receiver, you're redoing your electronics in your RC for something that you are occasionally going to be using versus, all the time.
Well, if you're going to use it all the time, you're going to get better use out of it, more
enjoyment.
enjoyment.
You just build the buggy that way. And then you can add armor for like rams and stuff like that, cool things like that.
I think we're going to have some fun as we figure it out. So you guys, we will get it figured out, and we're going to put up I guess I could say that for later. We're going to get something up and on internet for you that's more on that too, because we can combine all this. I mean, we love the game. You can combine this RC with gaming too.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are we?
Well,
we're in Iowa.
By a campground in Iowa now.
Yep.
And I've been through there.
Yeah.
This place, just on the stop, they have a giant shopping cart that you can ride around in that's pulled by a tractor. It's kind of funny. Like when you were a kid, you rode in a shopping cart. Sorry, I mean, that's a little bit off the RC thing, but we drove past it, so.
Yeah.
There you go. There's some parts.
This is a salvage yard, or it used to be a salvage yard. Now it's kind of more just a scrap pile, but
people just take what they want.
I used to go through there and get parts all the time. There's just not very many junkyards you can just actually go through to find parts for things. They're kind of done. Nobody wants the liability of having people in their yard.
Anyways, I'm going back to bed.
Okay, you go back to bed. That's fine. So, but it's cool. But I don't know. I mean, I'd like people's thoughts. So the people who game and also do RC stuff, especially if you are familiar with Gaslands, I want your input on that. Now, once we look at doing like a video, kind of our test stuff, then definitely want people's inputs, or maybe you could do this, or probably should do this. I'm not an expert on Gaslands, but I can read the rule book, and we've played a few times, but I'm by no means, the aficionado on it. Is just not. It's a giant rooster.
giant chicken.
Right there. Yep. On a gravel road.
Yeah.
I think I could tell.
So Clint, you're getting ready to turn the a space in your mom's backyard there into
A little bit into a crawler course.
a little bit.
So, I should say crawler course / gaming area.
Well, why not? That's what I said. This should work together pretty good, really.
I think so. I think everyone will have fun. Plus, really, sometimes it's just nice to just take the RCs out and trail crawl. I really like the crawlers because all you're doing is standing there, paying attention to this stupid little piece of electronics with its own motor, trying to go over rocks. And it seems dumb, but you know what? There's something slightly zen and cathartic. That is an old digger. Holy cow.
Wow.
Like 1920s. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, sometimes when you're out, if you ever get a chance to go through old farm roads and stuff, there's an old backhoe down there. Especially old farm roads and stuff. It's interesting what you see just sitting either in the fields or in people's driveways or yards. Old farm equipment especially is just sometimes really kind of cool. Especially if it's from like the 20s and 30s. So
I understand that.
yeah.
There's some cool things we drive by as Clint's driving now. It's a dirt gravel road,
Yeah.
so
We've seen a lot with these commutes
we've got
lately.
some ideas though, man. When we go out and we drive, we come across things and go, hey, we can make a terrain piece like that, or hey, we can incorporate maybe something like this into the game. And that's the other thing too, is getting out with the RCs. Clint was talking about get outside. It's good for us gamers to get out into the sun, that shiny thing in the sky, and you know it's good for you. It's healthy for you too.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, that's an excuse to go out and buy RC stuff and do it. But that's okay.
Course,
you know,
you're gonna spend the money anyway.
all right, you're gonna pay bills. You may as well get something.
The RC stuff, if you maintain it, and you do, in some cases, you will want to upgrade things because the stock stuff is only good for so much, and then it breaks or fails or nobody has a right out of the box invulnerable RC. It just doesn't happen. So you're going to want to upgrade things. Generally, once you've upgraded, once you've spent a little extra money to tweak things and get things set up the way you want, then you just play with it. Then it really, I know that sounds bad, but then you just, you're doing battery upkeep. You're cleaning them. You're dusting them. You're maintenance. If you like running yours in the mud or the water, then there's a little extra stuff you got to do to keep them nice. And like everything else, just like a car, you need to do maintenance. You're going to have to re-grease gears, gear drives eventually. You're going to want to clean connections, stuff like that. You may have to re-waterproof something.
Do those connections work better clean, Clint? I guess a little.
I mean, the idea is making a connection, so yeah. I guess if dirt prevents you from making a connection, then that does hinder the process a little.
It sure does.
So, RCs can be a lot of money invested, especially if you have a few like I do. But buying used is not bad. But if you're going to buy used, as Dee is learning, you got to be careful what you get.
That's true.
You really got to know. We inadvertently got to that really cool old bridge.
Yeah, we did.
You got to kind of know what you're looking at, and getting it at a good price is only a good price if you don't have to put a lot of money into it to make it work again.
That is the key right there, I think.
So,
and I didn't mean to interject, but you can buy something, say it normally is X amount, and you buy it for half, but now you've got to spend more than that to get it back up to par. Just RC stuff, I would say, inspect it if you can first.
But on that same token, if you're buying a stock unit that is slightly abused and stuff needs to be replaced, are you needing to replace the pieces you are going to replace anyway with better components and getting it? We are heading back, Evie. We're just taking a long way. And doing it with actually less money, and I'll use these as an example real quick. So the RC she bought sells new for $500 because it was used and not well maintained. It's gonna need some work. Some of the stuff really is going to have to be replaced. But some of the stuff that it needs replaced is stuff that we were going to replace to upgrade anyway. Well, she got that used unit for, I think it was $370 or $380. So you're already running
about $200 cheaper.
Almost $200 under. And if you're putting in $200 worth of upgrades, okay, you do have a $500 unit again. But it's better than spending $500 on the unit and another $200 to upgrade it from there. So, you know, in the case of my six wheel, buying it new, I've got full retail price in it, plus now all the upgrades. So I will have a lot into it, more than I will ever get out of it selling it. But the goal is to upgrade it and use it because I love it dearly. I have no intention of selling it, so unless I become hard up for money, and generally if you are hard up for money, you're going to sell it at a loss anyway because you need to sell it for money. You're not going to make a profit on it. It's just not going to happen.
Gaming, hobbies, and no matter, video games, tabletop, RC, don't matter. If it's going to cost you money to do.
Yep.
Some is more expensive than the other, but you know what? Compared to other hobbies, it's not as much. I mean, it just depends on how you're looking at it too. Like golf, a lot of people go golfing.
Yeah.
I mean, look how expensive a set of clubs is.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Way more than what you're going to spend on RC. Now, I'm not knocking golf, so if you golf, that's cool. That's not it. But I'm just saying, price-wise, I've seen people go drop $2,000 on this and go, that's $70. I'm not going to waste my money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it depends. If you're into it, you're into it. Eventually, I got to pick up the Kill Team box I want. Is it $200? Yeah, but you know what? Have I spent more on other stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, to me, it's perspective on some of it.
It is. Yeah,
I mean,
it really is.
And you only live once. I reminded Clint of this. I'll remind you guys. You can go buy milk. Get yourself your extra milk. But you got nowhere to go buy extra time. Anywhere. So you may as well enjoy your time. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Have fun a little bit. And Clint, be nice. We're going to go buy a tractor.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be nice going by a tractor? Oh, don't run him off the road. Got it. Sorry.
He's going so slow. We'll
I had
wave,
to just clarify what you meant by... Yeah, it also helps being a big 3/4 ton farm type truck.
Yeah.
They have the farmers all like, hey, how's it going? You know, they don't know, they don't care. They're going to be like, oh, hello. You know.
Yeah. Generally, most of them are pretty
Most
nice.
of the farmers, at least around here, are really great people. As long as you respect them, they're moving it on the road at 5 miles an hour, towing a trailer.
And they can't go any faster.
Yeah, he had hay bales or something on there. But he's probably moving from field to farm. I would imagine that's a lot of burning. I would imagine in this area he is probably just moving from the farm over to one of the fields.
Yep.
They're burning horse manure.
Yeah, they're burning some hay. They're used to
hay. The old stuff. Yeah. And well, out here we are way out in the country. So that's
this is what we need, though.
I'd love to have
envy
some
them.
land
I
out
wish
here.
I should have done things different in life and just got some land. I don't like living in the city and all that stuff anymore.
There's so much we could do if we just had an old farm or something.
Something like even one of these, half these little buildings or something. Look at that.
Yeah. What, Evie?
Don't you want a pet dragon?
I don't know about a horse, Evie. Horse is a lot of maintenance. A lot to take care of. I mean, they're cool, but there's a lot to do with a horse.
Clint,
so
depends on how good your luck is. You don't want to get kicked by a horse.
You don't want to get kicked by a horse, but vet bills are super. Somebody had a track or something here. There's an old trail in this overgrown field.
Maybe?
No, it's paved, and there's like a little shed building. There was a little bridge. It looked like a motorbike trail or something, or a quad trail, but it's been overgrown and left to lie. So, that'd be a cool property to buy. Like, I could use that.
And you see, we deviate. You guys, it's too bad. We could do a commute one time again. It's been a while.
Do another video commute.
Where we did the video. That thing we got like 7,000-8,000 views out of the
lawn. A little better camera now, too.
Your camera did just fine with that, Clint. It even recorded in the wind.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the same mic that I would be using, but the camera I have is a little better. The camera I have now is a better model than the camera I had back then. Not that the one I had back then was bad,
Well, this drive here is a nice drive. What we should do is, Clint has connections. I'll have him call the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
And maybe next week he can order us a day like today.
Yeah, sure.
Just make sure it's a good day like today,
Oh
Clint.
my
Yeah.
God.
And then you just play along with me, Evie. That's part of the thing. And then, we'll take a cruise and take the camera. I got the monopod. We're good.
Yeah. No, that would be kind of cool, just
Yeah.
doing that.
Buying a
We'll
day.
do that. No, because you know what? Truckers put their trucker videos up.
Oh, yeah.
I see people watch
do.
those.
You see people watching videos for some of what I would consider some of the silliest things, but then you look and it's like hundreds of thousands of people are following them.
Yeah. And
No.
they're not bill collectors.
No, they're not.
I'm sorry.
Some of them are
Who
going, here,
follows you?"
take my money.
So we'll have to do that for
Boy,
the
we could
plan.
probably just have a side channel just driving around Iowa here.
Well, look at right here. You go directly from a farm, and within 2 or 3 blocks,
Yeah.
here's a park, manicured, all
Small
this.
city slash
Yeah.
cemetery.
It's
I wanna
but-
play in the park.
No, we're not going to stop at the park, but we'll keep in mind that it's here.
yeah, they're actually working on this. it
Yeah,
looks
they're
like.
still
they are.
working on it. So, we might not want to go through town too fast. You definitely got to pay attention to the speed limit while you're driving, for sure. They don't like you going through small towns at 100 miles an hour. That is frowned upon.
Were you going that fast, Clint? You know what? Uh-oh. What'd you see, Clint?
I am pretty sure that was the old Bobcat.
Oh, the one you sold?
Yeah. Because
It
it's
looks like it.
the paint is where Mom went and sprayed the paint over the.
It's got
stuff.
certain markers.
It's the same.
Well, here,
It's-
we'll let them go.
Yeah.
We'll go back and check. Because you guys should join us on one of our adventures. We'll
For
have
sure.
to do it. And
God, we are kind of having adventures, aren't we?
we are. We're getting out of the house and doing something.
I wonder if this
Yeah.
is the town where Mom traded it in.
Might be. But we'll let you guys go.
Yeah.
And catch us on our live show Sundays at 4 p.m. Central. And we're going to check out and see if this is Clint's old Bobcat. All right.
That's the same
We'll
as
let you go.
somewhere.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Clint.
Bye.